Hi, this is Anita, the Global Trade Gal. We live in this world where the climate change, there's a lot of climate change going on, there's deforestation, there's a lot of environmental, issues going on. These are, there's daily headlines of this. In fact, I just read this morning in a newspaper about how hot the United States was becoming this summer in several parts of the United States. So you see this all the time going on, whether it's either extreme cold, extreme heat, or there's these extreme weather changes going on. Mondoro, we believe that the hope of home decor lies at the intersection of thoughtful design and ethical sourcing. For us, sustainability isn't just a buzzword, it's a business model. And I want to talk a little bit about sustainability and why we believe in sustainability. Our commitment starts in Southeast Asia, a lot of the things we produce here, where we work closely with artisans and producers to source eco-friendly materials that support both the planet and local communities. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those planets. But first, let me talk a little bit about why Southeast Asia. And in particular, for us, it's Vietnam. Southeast Asia is positioned as a global hub for sustainable material sourcing. It's a region which has a lot of these sustainable materials like bamboo, rattan, water hyacinth. All of these things are readily available in countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand. So they're rich in the raw material. Some of the materials that we trust and that we like include bamboo, which bamboo basically is a grass. It's considered to be the super grass. Some bamboo will grow up to a meter in a day. It's very fast growing. It requires very little water. It's pest resistant. It's just an amazing, amazing material. It can be harvested without killing the entire root system, making a plant that's renewable. We can use bamboo in a lot of different ways. You can use it for lighting. You can use it for furniture, mirrors. Vietnam does a process here called spun bamboo where they take the bamboo, strip the bamboo down, and then they sort of spin the bamboo around and make it a variety of shapes. It can also be made into strips and woven. So there's lots of different ways that bamboo can be used. Water hyacinth is also another plant. Used to be many years ago that water hyacinth was considered this invasive, sort of terrible plant. I remember living in Thailand and seeing it in the waterways of places like Thailand where it literally choked the waterways, and a boat would be driving along and all of a sudden a boat would stop because the water hyacinth was sort of like choke the water and stop the boats. It would kill the wildlife, kill the fish. So then people began to discover, well, we can take this plant and we can dry it, and then we can basically use it to weave, we can dye it, we can paint it, and we can basically make a lot of great products out of this plant, which was once considered this huge nuisance. So that's a great example, again, of people using their ingenuity and saying, like, look, we have this plant here. How do we be able to use this plant and put it to some type of use? So we work with local weavers in Vietnam, to be able to turn dried water hyacinth into baskets, trays, and furniture accents. Recycled wood is also another one, and recycled wood has been gaining more popularity. It is a very specific look. It's not a look that every company can use, but it is a great look. There's certain clients that really like it because it's sustainable. It was once used for one purpose, is now being used again. It can be used for a wide range of home decor products, from furniture to lamps to mirrors to other types of accessories, can all be used using recycled wood. There's other types of wood which is considered fast-growing wood species, or wood, wood that basically can be renewed quite easily. Woods like teak or oak would take decades to mature. But in contrast, you have these fast-growing type of woods, acacia, rubber wood, mango wood, which grow very fast, can be harvested sustainably within a few years. These woods are often byproducts of agricultural industries, which means using them adds value to what otherwise be waste. Years ago, rubber wood used to be considered a waste wood. They didn't know what to do with the wood. The wood couldn't be used for anything because the rubber was still inside the wood. And then they discovered this vacuum. If they vacuumed them out, they had machines that sort of like vacuum out the rubber, then it makes a beautiful hardwood. It makes a great hardwood. It can be used in many different ways. This is a great example of somebody taking a wood that was once a waste, and they would just burn the wood to wood that now can be used and can be considered sustainable. At Mondoro, we also try to ensure that our wood used is from managed plantations and carries certifications where possible. This can result in beautiful, sturdy furniture that doesn't cost the earth, but at the same time, it doesn't destroy our earth either. So it's a wood that basically helps the earth. So there's different ways that you can, you select the materials. It's through research and testing. You can look at supplier audits, look at the suppliers and what the suppliers are doing. Design collaboration, work together with our customers to be able to get the best type of material possible, and to try to give more, transparency into things. And that's part of the reason why I do these podcasts, or we do videos. The videos that we do is to be able to tell the story and to be able to let people understand the story that we want to tell about sustainability. That sustainability in hand can go hand in hand. That, you don't have to really separate the two. They don't have to be two separate goals, that you can make them one goal together. That you can try to be, innovative and use materials which are sustainable and at the same time can give a beautiful product and a beautiful look. We can also, tell stories with it. When you have a reclaimed piece of furniture, reason why I love reclaimed furniture or wood that's been used before is it sort of tells a story. It tells the story of furniture that was once used or scrapped away or maybe would have been burned and instead is made into a beautiful piece of furniture. I've always loved that story. I'm someone who's always appreciated that kind of story, that they're not just objects, but this really is something that has a history to it and has a story to it. So if you're interested in this, at Mondoro, we would love to be able to help you to be able to look at ways that you can become more sustainable materials that you could use. We'd love to be able to talk to you more about this, talk about things that we could develop together in the home decor and home furnishing. We could talk about different types of materials you could use. We collaborate together with you to get the right designs. We'll make sure that the quality is up to the standard you need. We really consider ourselves an ethical manufacturer. We work with workshops and factories that we ensure use fair labor practices and are environmentally responsible. If you'd like to be able to read more about this, we have written a blog post on this entitled Sourcing Sustainable Materials in Southeast Asia for Home Decor. If you're not in the home decor industry, but you're in another industry, you can still look to be able to make sustainability one of your goals. If everybody did a little bit of that, and then imagine what a different place the world would be and how much better the world would be if we all looked at sustainability as one of our goals when it came to manufacturing. This is Anita from the Global Trade Gal. Thank you so much for being part of our community. We hope that you will join with us. If you haven't joined with us already, press that subscribe button and become part of our community and part of us. And we'd love to hear from you if you have any questions or comments. Thank you so much.